Over this past week, after our video went up talking about the situation with the Ball Blue Books, that generated quite a conversation on our YouTube channel, and I'm very, very grateful for all of you who added your questions, and Mary Gallagher for answering so many of them with information from Penn State Extension Office. Over and over again, people ask the same question about viscous foods. And so we're going to be starting a new playlist called Burning Questions, and it is going to air on Fridays whenever needed. Anytime when we get many of the same type of question, the same content from the questions, we are going to just put a little note in there that says, see Burning Questions on Friday. And that way we can answer it for everyone at once, and hopefully we'll get the good information out there. And so that's what we're going to do today. We're going to do a couple of things. I am moving all of the Ball Blue Book information to Burning Question videos. I am going to be giving updates on this as they become available. And I just would like to tell you that we are getting some very interesting ongoing comments. I have heard from one person who claims to be a master canner at an extension office, although she did not reveal her state, and she gave some really good information. I would like to be able to share that information with you, but I need to verify before I can make an announcement on our YouTube channel. We value so much having accurate information on here. And so while I appreciate people giving me the information, if they don't give me enough information that I can verify it, I'm not going to pass it on. Heard from another person who said she was a food specialist at a different extension office, again, did not give me the state, but expressed appreciation for our focus on safety and safe canning. So that was really good. And then today I heard from one of our viewers that said she heard that the Georgia Extension had said now you can can a certain low acid food. I was pretty excited to see if that were true, so I just picked up the phone and called the Georgia Extension and got the answer directly from them that they have not published any new data on that particular food, and it is not safe to can. So I'm not even going to mention the food because I don't want anyone to think you can go ahead and do that. So updating on the Ball Blue Books will occur on Burning Questions on Friday, and also clearing up any misconceptions that people may have developed after watching some of our previous videos. If a whole lot of people ask the same question, that means that I didn't explain it very well. So I am going to go back and revisit the viscous foods. I'm going to start with the Blue Book information, and remember, from now on, all Blue Book information is going to be on our Burning Question Fridays videos. So this is my latest edition of the Ball Blue Book. Some of you purchased this on my recommendation in another video, and I still stand by that recommendation. The information in the front is still perfectly good. I have used this for many of our canning videos that are up on our channel, and I do not have a problem with any of those recipes that came from this book. They were all sound, and they were all in harmony with what the USDA recommends. However, there are a couple of recipes that I have not tried that I have since been made aware of some issues from some of our viewers, and I checked those out, and I agree with our viewers. First of all, this is Asian pomegranate barbecue and stir-fry sauce. Now, you notice in pink, my notes to myself, this is not a safe recipe because it calls for chicken broth in the recipe, which is a low-acid food, and then it water bath cans that. And that is, from my perspective, a very much unsafe practice to do. So I will not be using this recipe at all, and it's marked up in my book. Now, the other recipe is one that I pointed out in our last in our last video on the Blue Book, and that is this roasted tomato soup. And it does call for it to be blended up before it is pressure canned. And I made some comments about viscous foods, and how I would not blend it up before processing it. And that led to lots and lots of questions, the big burning question that we're going to be dealing with today. So, viscous foods. What about that? So many of you wanted to know, well, what about tomato sauce? What about ketchup? All right, so I want to make a big distinction right here. This particular recipe, the roasted tomato soup, was a pressure canned soup for the purpose of getting the temperatures high enough in order to kill botulism. That was my concern. I would not blend it up prior to pressure canning to kill botulism because viscous foods inhibit good heat penetration. So what about tomato sauce and ketchup? And some of you even wanted to know, because I had said don't can anything that is just liquid, not viscous liquid. You should not pressure can anything that is a real viscous, complete liquid. So I'm going to show you some examples. First of all, here is my applesauce. Applesauce is very viscous, but it is water bath canned and it is high acid. No danger of botulism here because the acid is high enough in this high acid food that botulism is not a concern. It's water bath canned, which means it doesn't need to get up to that way, way high temperature. It needs to get up to, and the internal temperature needs to be about 180 degrees and higher to kill other types of organisms that cause foodborne illness, but not botulism. So if you're canning applesauce or tomato sauce or ketchup in an acidified recipe that has been a tested recipe and it is water bath canned, no problems. It can be viscous. It is these that need to be pressure canned in order to get things up to that high temperature. Now, this is my tomato bisque soup, which is very similar to the one that is in the ball canning book. Notice how liquidy it is. That is about the viscosity of liquid that we want in anything that is going to be pressure canned. And it can be a little thicker than this, that's just fine. This has mushrooms in it and celery in it. I think it has potatoes in it, I can't really remember. But it is solids and the liquid. The solids are swimming in the liquid. So the heat penetration into the center of this jar to get it up to 240 degrees Fahrenheit into the kill zone is not an issue. And so this is pressure canned, and this is about the perfect viscosity. This is squash soup. Notice that it is chunks with a little bit of liquid, but that liquid is runny, like water. I can't remember offhand if it probably was broth that I put in here. But the chunks like this in a liquid that is thin like this is perfectly fine because the heat can penetrate via the thinner liquid to get clear into the center and take this up to 240. This was pressure canned. This is perfectly fine. We've had this over and over. In fact, I think this may be the last jar of this. Now, here is split pea soup. Now, notice my rings. They're loose. They're barely on. I always have to say this because people always ask, well, I thought USDA said to take the rings off when you store, and they did. I don't have a place to store 600 rings. So I just leave mine on the jar screwed down about half a turn. So if the seal needs to break, it can. But this split pea soup, look how viscous that is. Oh, yikes. Okay, so what about split pea soup? Somebody asked me about this in a comment yesterday. This has carrots in it. It has, I don't know what else. I can't really see and I don't remember offhand. When I canned this, it was much thinner. It has thickened up after the canning. So don't judge this viscosity by saying, oh, wow, that's so thick, that means I can can pretty much anything. Don't do it. Make sure that you have a thinner liquid with floating somethings or other. Even with beans, you have a thinner liquid with the beans floating around. And so this was, I will be blending this after I open it up because we like our split pea soup. Well, actually, Jim likes it chunky. I like it smooth. So I'll stir it up and blend half for me and keep half of his chunky. But what we are trying to do here with everything that we do on our channel is help you become a critical thinker so that you can judge for yourself about the safety of things. One of my deep concerns about the situation that we are living in society right now is that people are very reluctant to read. They're very reluctant to check recipes, check the tested recipes. They would just rather go to YouTube and watch somebody else do it, and then, without critically thinking about whether or not that is a good thing, they just do it. Now, a lot of folks who are in our community and who have commented, I am so pleased to say, are critical thinkers, because they question me on some of the things that I have done and they want to know. And I welcome that. That is really good. That shows me that you are really thinking through it. And so just be very cautious, be a critical thinker, base your decisions on what is known according to the USDA. And then when you venture into the unknown, you have something by which to measure your choices with. If it is parallel with USDA in terms of the viscosity and pressure canning, then fine. But don't go there if your recipe ends up this thick and you haven't canned it yet and think that the heat is going to get all the way to the middle of this. It simply will not. Use good common sense. If it is too thick, thin it down before you pressure can it. And then you can cook it down a little bit more or blend it up afterward. So that is the extent of our burning question for today. We always watch on our website. Jim is now helping me answer things, and it's taking both of us about 2 hours every evening. We get several hundred, 600, 700 comments on our videos every evening. And right now, we are continuing to answer each one. And so we're going to keep that up as long as we can. If it gets more than we're able to do, we're going to let you know. We will read everything, but we may not answer everything. But for right now, we still continue to answer everything that is a valid question. Of course, we want to be here to help you and to build our community into a place that is safe for all of us to be and to ask questions. And I also want to say that I feel like to a great degree we have some good distributed expertise among people who watch our videos, meaning you all bring a degree of expertise that we don't have as well. And so I'm learning from you as much as you are learning from me. Some people share great tips about doing things. I learned quite a few things about canning beets from people who are more professional than I on beet canning. So it is great to be part of our community from our perspective, and I hope it is from yours as well. So we will see you at our next video, whatever it might be. Thanks for joining us.